It seems like everybody's in each other's back pockets. You got psychological evaluators, custody evaluators, the guardian ad litems. It's money after money after money after money. And if they think they can still keep money coming through, they're going to make sure that case keeps going. And they're all in each other's back pockets. I mean, would you guys agree with that? That's what it seems like to me. This whole thing is about money.
Yes, there's no questionably what it's about. It's basically county cronies in these courts, profiting off the desire of fathers and mothers to see their children.
Eric, I didn't know you were going to go back to that, so I had something down. I thought had it written off here, but as long as you mentioned that, let me bring it up. I was sitting at Jeff's trial, in October, I believe it was, of 2019. And it's at the guardian ad litem of an amicus attorney. What, I can't remember his name right offhand. The guy, there was your attorney, there was your wife's attorney, then there was the other guy. I forget his name. But anyway, they showed a clip of actually Anne interfering with Jeff's scheduled visitation according to the court. And he specifically took like a 0.1 second clip, and he tried to illustrate this to take this and to try to say, Jeff, you're a bad parent, and you guys have a problem here. And the reality was, I went up to him after that. I was shocked that he did that. So the next time I saw him, I brought him the 2503, interference with child custody. And I said, I had a question about what you did the other day. And I showed it to him, and you could just see like his face turned a different color. I didn't say anything. I thought, you scoundrel, you just, you are exploitive as well. He wanted to keep his money going because, Jeff has to call to say, hey, can I cut the kid's hair? Well, ching, ching, I don't know how much he made off of that. But this is an industry that is motivated by greed and by profit. And they get to say, we're doing this for the best interest of the children. We're being here because we need to be here. But you know what? If you need to be there, why don't you volunteer your time? Make this all community service. All these attorneys that are doing this, I think we ought to be looking at legislation to cap attorney fees. I think that attorneys are profiting off of a system that holds people hostage, and it's a never-ending litigation. When you have to spend $1.2 million or $500,000 or whatever to see your children, there's something completely wrong with this system, and we need to be looking at that. But then the other instance, like you mentioned, Eric, the different child custody evaluators and stuff like that. Yep. How many times they charge $50,000 for what?
Well, and, you just talk about the best interest of the child, Jeff. The best interest of the child is to take mom or dad's money that they've saved up to send them off to college and completely spend it on something just so that they can have access to their kids. It's about the best interest of their wallets, not the best interest of the child.
Yeah, there's no way that a court could adjudge that it was in a child's best interest for one parent to spend $50,000 on a custody evaluation.
Or both of them each separately.
There's just no way. Here, one of the arguments that I've made, and I'm going to continue to press this one because I think it gets to the root of it. In the law of land takings, eminent domain, there's a notion that the government can regulate your land to such a degree that you can't put it to productive use anymore.
Right.
Okay. And that occasionally happens, particularly with people that might have waterlands on their lands. So the government recognizes that it has effectively taken the land from the landowner and is required to pay them for it. Right.
I hear where you're going.
So when you take $50,000 from me to do a custody evaluation, you've taken those resources from the exercise of my parental rights and given them to a custody evaluator. That has diminished my ability to exercise my other parental rights, paying for the education of my children, clothing and feeding them, taking into account their education, paying for their medical care. All these things I can't do now because I gave $50,000 to a custody evaluator. There reaches a point at which the burdens the court places is an effective taking of the parental rights of the parents.
It is.
I've seen some of these cases where the parents have had 3 or 4 different psychological evaluations. 3 or 4.
I've had 2.
2. Exactly.
And it was interesting, Eric, that there was the psychologist or child psychology evaluator, whatever they're called. But I found out about this one online thing that they were having testimony, and I mentioned it to Jeff, or maybe I don't remember how it turned out, but I had seen what had happened in his case and some other stuff, and I got on and I testified. Now, granted, right before us, we had these two people were talking about what a wonderful job that they do. I mean, you would have thought these people were like the creme de la creme or something. I mean, they're patting each other on the back. So they're done, and then they asked me to testify, and I'm listening to everything. So I said my portion, and I named them by name and what I thought, and I had no idea that Jeff was the next person in line. And Jeff came up with a perfect follow-up right after me. So, I mean, you had all these child custody evaluators. What a wonderful job we're doing. We're here for the court. And then it was like bang and bang. We tried to, I don't know that they took them down or anything, because then what did they do? They passed laws. They passed guidelines to protect themselves. Jeff, maybe you can talk about this more, because you actually know more about this than I do. But, I'll let you talk about that.
So the custody evaluator, first of all, when you go to a custody evaluator, the first thing they have you sign is a notice that you know that there are no standards for custody evaluations. There are no legal or psychological standards of practice for doing custody evaluations. Literally, what the court is saying is, "Hey, man, just tell me what you think I should do here." That's literally all a custody evaluator is. Just somebody who's going to say what should be done.
You gave me some trappings so that it looks good.
Yeah. And
I can wrap up this.
Actually used for is 2 things. One, they're used to assign a fault in a no-fault divorce. The purpose of the custody evaluator, the court can't consider fault in the divorce, so it uses the custody evaluator to assign fault in the divorce. And 2, it provides an evidentiary basis to maximize Title IV-D reimbursements. That's literally all they're for.
It's a lie that supports the scam.
I'll give you a little trick that they use. So in every state, there's some period of time after which you can't introduce new evidence before you go to trial. In Texas, that's 10 days. All right, there's 30 days. There's a 30-day window. You have to get all evidence in with 30 days before trial, okay? The custody evaluators always release their report inside the 30-day limit. And that prevents you from getting a second opinion to rebut their report. You can't submit one, okay? That's why if everybody goes, why does it take them a year and a half to do a report? Well, they did the report. They did the report right after your last appointment. They're just waiting until the 30-day evidentiary window passes so you can't get a second opinion and contradict them. That's how corrupt these bastards are.
Well, I just flashed a video up for anybody that's curious of what goes on in a custody evaluator's mind. We actually found one that got caught on videotape. The father had a camera on his front porch, and the custody evaluator didn't know it, so the whole thing got recorded. He's on there talking about how the mom's a sex addict, how she alienates the kids, tries to block time with dad and everything. The crazy thing is, about after he did this, he went in court and went in favor of the mom. But if you ever wonder what goes on inside their heads, please go and check that out, guys. I put it down there. It's crazy. This dad paid all this money for this guy, and this is what happened. It's the amount of corruption that we've got inside a family court. Nothing surprises me anymore, but it's ridiculous. It really is.
Well, this is why, with the current counseling regime that I have, that I won't cooperate with these 2 counselors, because it's already clear they're doing corrupt stuff, right? They're not going to see my son when he's a boy with me. They're only going to see him when he's a girl with his mom. First of all, that's That means they can go into court and say, James never once presented as a boy to me. He always presented as a girl consistently for 9 months.
Because we forced him to come as a
They can
girl.
testify to things like that. That's why they're doing it, okay? So there's already corruption. They've already affirmed that he's a girl. They already used his fake girl's name, affirmed him as a girl without my consent, okay? That's corrupt and illicit. Once you realize that it's corrupt and illicit, why would you even follow the court order? Why would you even pay the money, right? Once you know the custody evaluator is gonna give you this lying evaluation, why would you even cooperate with it? Why? Why even do it? You know, we have to start thinking like that. We have to start acting like that. We have to just say,
Right.
Judge, I'm not cooperating with this because there's an illicit process going on. I would like to have 2 custody evaluators, one appointed by my wife and one appointed by me, and I would like the court to see adversarial evidence from both of us on what should be done with the children.